All right. What's up, everybody? Hey, Ginger, how you doing? What's going on? It's time for Power Talks, and I already told you I'm going to be talking to Swin Cash today and Emmanuel Suarez, who Swin is. You know what? I'm going to jump right in it, right? Because I know Swin is a very busy woman, and so is Emmanuel, a very busy man. So let me start giving you the rundown on who they are, all right? So I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to try to read it as fast as I can. Being dyslexic, that may take a while, but I have to read this to you about Swin Cash if you do not know who Swin Cash is, all right? So she's an extremely decorated athlete for her basketball skills. Some examples of her achievements are won 3 WNBA championships, is a 5-time WNBA All-Star team member, is the second player in history to win multiple WNBA All-Star MVP awards, 2 Olympic gold medals, is one of only 6 women to have won an NCAA championship, WNBA championship, FIBA world championship, and Olympic gold medal. Experience in broadcasting and journalism as well. Some examples are NBA analyst for ESPN, Olympic broadcaster for 2008 Summer Games, host of MSG Network's Nothing But Kicks, commentator for the first national all-female sports show called We Need to Talk, and that's not enough. She's also a founder of Swin Cash Enterprises, LLC, and Cash Building Blocks, LP, an urban development company that renovates and offers affordable homes to low-income families. Also founder of Cash for Kids, a 501c3 charity with the mission to motivate, educate, and elevate kids. She's I took the Wi-Fi off. Let me know if that is working for you. Is that better? Okay, got it. All right, so now you can all hear me. Sorry if you did not hear all of that intro right there, but I'm going to get right into it. You said you can't hear me? I'm sorry. Let me see. Hello, hello. You got me. All right. I'm gonna bring Swin in here now to get this party started. It's breaking up. I'm very sorry about that. It's still freezing. Yep. Some people can hear me, some people can't. I see Steve Canals here, but I don't see Swin. It's one of those days when you don't have a producer around you. Sorry, everybody. I'm going to call Swin right now, or Steve. I promise you we're going to work this thing out. Hey, Steve, call me on my phone, please. I cannot find Swin. All right, waiting on Swin.
Daymond, can you hear me?
Hey,
Hi.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I had to go out and come back in. The service was a little choppy, but all good.
All right, all right. So I read your bio. I hope everybody heard it because I don't have enough energy to read it again.
No,
Um,
it's okay.
where are you right now?
In New Orleans, I don't know if you guys could hear the thundering and lightning outside, so I do apologize. It's raining pretty hard down here.
Okay, well, are you safe? And how is New Orleans dealing with the virus? I don't, because I remember at first they were spiking back when New York was spiking.
Hmm.
How is it down there now? Is it leveled off?
You know, it did for a minute, but it spiked a little bit. And the issue has been the testing. Like a lot of other states, it's unbelievable. Yesterday, people were lined up. They only had about, I think, 250 tests, and within 8 minutes, the line was already done. So I think that's the next phase for New Orleans is really the testing part of it. New York
Oh,
actually
okay.
did it right, so hopefully you can be a model for other people.
Yeah, well, we hope so. So I hope your family's safe. I hope that the
Yes.
baby and everybody's good, and I hope you didn't lose anybody to this unfortunate thing that's going on out there. But I want to spend this time and motivate the other people that are watching us right now. So your bio is extremely extensive and it's moving from becoming an athlete and mastering that area, and we'll get into that. Then philanthropy probably at the same time, simultaneously, and then becoming an executive who is, of course, an African American female executive during a crazy time like this. But being an athlete and competing all around the world, and where did you grow up at?
I grew up outside of Pittsburgh in a small town called McKeesport, PA.
Hmm. And how was it to be training to go to the Olympics or training to be an athlete? Like, how intense was it? Did you have a childhood at the end of the day? Because, my daughter tried to be an athlete, wanted to go to the Olympics to be a figure skater. And after a while, she was like, wait a minute, I need a childhood. I ain't messing with this.
Right. It's a certain level of discipline that goes into every level that you want to achieve. And at a really young age, people don't realize this. I don't talk about it enough. But when I was younger, my goal wasn't to go to the Olympics. Literally, my goal was when we were living in McKeesport housing projects was I knew there were scholarships that were out there. So my mom told me at a young age, can't afford to send you to college. So either you're going to get an athletic scholarship or an academic one. So those are the two focuses that I had. So I was training to like go to school. Then once I got to college, it was the next phase where people were like, oh, you're pretty good. You got a shot at going pro or to the Olympics. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And then another level of discipline. So at every stage for me, it was just like I didn't have the long vision, Damon, but I just had those short goals like every 4 years, like where's my life going to be?
Yeah, it's an interesting way of thinking about it. They say that when people run marathons, they don't look at the whatever it is, 26 miles. They look at getting to that lamppost, getting to that corner, getting to that. And I think that we often are too busy getting analysis paralysis, saying, "How am I going to get all this done without just taking the first step?" So, if if somebody right now is raising a child and or they want, there's two ways I want to ask this. If somebody right now desperately wants their children to be an athlete, and maybe the child doesn't want to necessarily be one, because I joke about my boy Tut. My boy Tut is about 5'2", 5'3", and he has three boys, and he always wants them to be a ball player. And I'm like, I'm not the one to say no, it can't happen.
But
But and he pushes them so hard to be athletes, and we all joke about it. But his love for basketball is so great. He's a great dad. I think he has four boys, and they're all 5'2", whatever. But what do you say to the parents right now who are pushing their children to be athletes, and the kids don't want to be athletes?
Um, yes. So I would say to the parents, if you want to push your kids to be athletes, push them to be athletes in the here and now, not to be pro. I think there are a lot of different characteristics and things that you can learn from playing sports. I think, God rest his soul. I think Kobe Bryant was getting heavily involved in the aspect of grassroots and why kids should be playing sports and why it should be fun. I think I learned a lot of different disciplines. And so I would say encourage your kids to play sports because what they learn through sports is going to help them later in business, is going to help them in life. I don't agree with parents pushing the whole pro aspects, especially for me in the African American community, because it's so limited. I don't like that people consistently always think that you know, your child, because he's tall. They say to my son all the time, Saint is 2, will be 3 soon. And people are like, oh, he's going to be in the NBA. And I'm like, actually, when he was about 1, I took him to see Adam Silver. I would like if he runs the NBA. So like,
Right.
I think it's the mindset, you know, the mindset for the adults has to change for the kids.
Now, on the flip side of it, your kid wants to be an athlete and you don't have the funds. What do you do there?
Find nonprofits. Find nonprofits. That's one of the reasons why I started my nonprofit, and we don't charge kids anything. We try to get them involved in sports by providing, whether it's uniforms, whether it's balls, different things, so they don't, the parents don't feel like they're stressed or strapped to have to pay for things. So I would say find nonprofits, find boys and girls clubs, YMCAs, different places that have organized sports for your kids.
So I think those are excellent points, and I want to get more into a little bit into your mindset of, you know, what were the greatest assets you felt that you had as you became a pro? Because we'll hear stories that after Kobe or Jordan won the championship, they were back in the gym that night or that morning, or that it was always mental. And I'm not an athlete, you know, so I have no idea. I know that mentally I go into trying to win, and I try to sharpen my tools every day as a person in life. What are the biggest assets that people need to be to want to become an athlete or to be successful as an athlete?
For me, it goes back to discipline. It comes back to work ethic. Those 2 things will take you a long way. I've been on teams. I love team sports because it's made me, I think, a better exec. I think it's made me more well-rounded, because you have to, it's not just about you achieving goals, whereas like in tennis and sometimes track, it's the individual goal. Whereas on teams, you have to build and you have to make everybody else around you better in order to succeed. So I think the discipline every day of doing the same routine. The hardest part for me, Daymond, was when I retired, because I was so used to understanding what my schedule would look like. And now there's just free time and there's no accountability to anybody. And it's up to you to be able to put that structure in place.
I think that's a good point, because most of us, even though we're not necessarily retired, we're retired because we're in Corona area and we have to be, you know, my schedule today is probably busier than ever. I'm minute by minute, you know, every time, and I got to do this. And some people are finding themselves in this daze and they don't have motivation, because you wake up and you go, is this thing still happening? What the hell? I don't know if I have a job, and I'm looking at the news and the world's on fire. So a lot of times I think that is the thing that people need to, a body needs to stay in motion. Now you started also, you know, years ago, started broadcasting and things like that. And there's a lot of athletes who are going to hope that they're going to be able to transition into that field of broadcasting after. But we know the reality is, with all the athletes in the world, it's going to be half of 1% that can even get in front of the camera. Was that something you wanted to do? Was that something you practiced to do, you tried to do, or did you just get caught up in it and said, wait a minute, I like that?
So I will say this to people. The day I got drafted is the day I start planning for my retirement. And what I mean by that is, I knew that for women personally, we had to play 12 months out of the year. So that meant we played here in the WNBA, then we went overseas. So what I did was I turned down a lot of money overseas at times, because I focused on, sometimes in the off season, working for ESPN, working for CBS. And so I was doing 2 jobs at once. I actually wanted to be like Oprah. I wanted to have a talk show and all these other things, but I wanted to stay around the game. So that's how I got into sports and start covering the NBA and men's college basketball, women's college basketball. Was about, I love the game. I wanted to stay around it, and I can go on television and talk about it and be able to help people enjoy the game they're watching.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times people don't realize I went to acting school only for about 6 months. And the reason why is because, and film school, not just acting school, is that when I would go on to video sets, and let's say I'm paying good money to put my product on people, but in as you know, in the TV world, it's hurry up and wait. And I would see a producer or a director or a stylist say, okay, well, your shirt's over there, it's on that person. And I wouldn't know the lens they're shooting with, so that shirt could look a mile away, or it could look up close. And I'm not going to get my money's worth until that thing is edited 2 months later and I finally see the video. Also, I wanted to know when they were like camera lens or breakdown and they were going to change positions, they were going to move for a wide shot or whatever, they would always say 5 minutes. But then when I started to understand how the cameras worked, that I knew I had an hour to go and do something or come back and talk to people or whatever the case is. I then started to understand the positioning of where the markers were in continuity. And what that did later on is when I went to went to do a pilot for some stupid show that I thought would never work called Shark Tank, I knew the positioning of the camera and I knew how to address the camera. And that probably was why they kept me initially. And many of Kevin and Robert already had known how to work the camera, so did Barbara and Cuban. And it was that ability to be able to not waste time, not have the producers and them going, hey, we got to retake that. Hey, look up. Hey, do this. Hey, do that. So it's those small seeds of the things that you do. And like you said, you started right when you got drafted, you started thinking about that. And it's those small seeds that would bring you further in. And I'm going to assume, and maybe I shouldn't because I know you're a brilliant person as well, but I'm assuming that some of that network ability to do that was also the thing that made you an excellent communicator to become an executive with the Pelicans. But I don't want to assume. I'm going to ask you, what do you think? How do you think that led to anything in that area?
I think that everything I did leading up to not only playing the game, covering the game for television. I also, while playing, I was on the executive committee. So I worked and went through 2 CBA negotiations. So I saw every single aspect of the business. And what happened, Daymond, is I would be on television. I'm talking with the guys, for TNT. And I would say to Steve all the time, you know what, if I was on a team, they should be doing X, Y, and Z. And so when I got the phone call and, David Griffin was like, hey, I'd be interested in you coming down here with us. I was talking to Steve about it, and he's like, well, you talk about it all the time, what you would do. Here's your chance. And it literally paused me for a second because I'm like, dang, you're right. And the reality of it is that I had been exposed. Now, my path was different, but I had been exposed to every aspect of the business. So coming into this role as an executive with the Pelicans for me was not so much about I took a traditional route, but I felt like I had the tools to be successful. So I took it upon myself to say, you know what, I'm going to step up to the challenge. And what I don't know, I will learn quickly. But what I do know, I will be able to come in and contribute.
So that's fascinating. So tell me more about the charitable organization, because, when I have to think about you, my mind just go, championship, athlete, philanthropy, wife, mother, executive. I don't know how you do it. So tell me about the philanthropy. How do you have time to do that?
I always just had this, when you come from humble beginnings, for me, it was just always important to give back. I think it keeps me grounded. It's important for me to go back to my hometown. It's important for me to serve in the communities that I played in, because one, we love the fans that come out and support us. And these people don't have to spend their hard-earned money to cheer for you. But it's important for me to go back to my hometown because they need to see, even though you can achieve success and you can move away, you can go to college, that you still care. And I think I credit that to my mom, to my family, how I was raised. And it just really comes from humble beginnings. So trying to give back, making sure these kids see opportunities. Like we take kids, Daymond, with my nonprofit, we take them to DC. We take them into Pittsburgh, to museums. We expose them to things that for me as a young kid, I wasn't exposed to necessarily. So it's important. I think it's important for our future. And now having a child, it's even more important.
No, absolutely. I think that the best thing my mother did was expose me to other cultures and other things, and showed me that, and that was before social media, obviously, and really, the images we saw on television of people of color were either athletes or singers, and then other than that, there was nothing else that was glorifying, the great people of color like you and all the people here who are just great people watching that they're not on the front line, but they're doing amazing things. So when I started to see people of all colors and or people of color doing great things, my mind was blown. I wasn't no longer like I'm stuck in this little town or this little area. I can do it if they can do it. So any other parents watching now should be able to say that. So, all right. So the last thing that I want to talk about is how is it being married to Steve?
You know him well.
So Steve is, so everybody knows Steve was an executive over at Miller, and he has his own business, and he wrote an amazing book as well, just like you, and really great guy. Funny thing is, with all the product placement and all the things that I've done, and this is just a random fact, I never received a check from in the business, in our business. I never received a check from another person of color who was in power. Believe it or not, ever.
Wow.
Besides Steve. There's only three people of color who ever wrote me a check. Theo Ratliff, Steve Canal, and DJ Irie.
Wow.
That's it. In my entire history. And I wrote millions of dollars worth of checks to other people. Why am I saying that? Because people like you and Steve are such giving people, you know, and he didn't see a color. And normally, unfortunately, sometimes when we get to certain positions in life, we want to work with others and forget who else we could work with. Mm-hmm. But Steve, when he didn't know me, called me up and did that. What makes you guys such giving people who don't have blinders on, like sometimes our people do? And it's a tough question, I know, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, and thank you for sharing that. I obviously I love my husband. I think he's amazing, and I think the thing that makes him so great and what makes our marriage so great is that we both care about outwardly making sure other people are good. So sometimes we don't even take as much time for ourselves. We care about our community. We care about our future, our kids. And I think we see the economic impact that is so needed and important in our communities, especially communities of color. And so the great thing about it is we both have been exposed around the world to vastly different people. Doesn't matter if you're rich, doesn't matter if you're poor, doesn't matter if you're in a small business, doesn't matter if you're in corporate America. We treat people the same. And I think that's why, you know, I'm amazed whenever I walk into a room with him and he knows X, Y, he knows like everybody in the room. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, go Steve. Right. But yes, he's amazing. He's doing great things. And thank you, Daymond, for just not only your kind words, but also letting people know, you know, when there are other opportunities and businesses out there that they can look to. So definitely my husband, Steve Canal, you guys go check him out.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Stay safe out there. Keep changing the world. Keep being an absolute inspiration to so many people, inclusive of myself. And I just wish you all the best. And, you know, I'll see you in the future when I can give you guys a hug, you know. Yeah. But for right now, I'll just give you a pound, you know, and be safe.
Thank you. Go Pals and vote, people.
That's right. Vote. You want the change, you better vote.
Get to the polls. Thanks, Dame. Right. Bye.
All right, listen, you're not going to ever get more inspired by people than to follow Swin Cash and Steve Canal. I see my man on here, also Kenny Burns. You can follow him as well. And I'm going to bring somebody else on right now because, you know, this is all about motivating you. And hopefully you got a little bit of information out of, you know, my interview with her. But she has a book, and go check it out. And please check out what she's doing because she's absolutely amazing. Now, here's the next person I'm going to bring on now. I'm going to read his background, of course, prior to bringing him on because I want you to hear who he is. His name is Emmanuel Suarez, and his background is he launched his own brand with no business background or training. Within a year, it became a multi-million-dollar company because of his study and application of social media advertising, and he sold it a few months later. Helped his father take his own company from making $2 million in revenue in one country to making $40 million in 8 countries in just 4 years. Started taking on clients. Has helped generate over 2 billion, that's with a B, views across different channels and helped generate millions of followers. Started his own agency, Attention Grabbing Media. It's called Attention Grabbing Media, with his own course on social media marketing. Relationship with the Shark Group. He has a relationship with my group. He and his team built our Manny Chat Messenger bot. If you go to daymondondemand.com, a chat bot pops up, and this was Manuel's work and helped set up our webinar launch in April. All right. Now, you're going to learn a lot from him because I'm sure the things he's going to say right now you're going to be able to apply to your business and your online and social media. This man has forgotten more than I've learned. Let me see. Here we go. Manuel. Boom. Add. All right. What's up, brother?
Hey Damon, how's it going, man?
It is going. It is well. You're in the office?
I'm in the office. It's a ghost town over here, but we're in the office space right now.
Where are you based?
I'm in Clearwater, Florida. That's
Clearwater.
Tampa Bay
Okay.
area.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know the area?
My fellow shark, Kevin Harrington, is from that area,
Oh yeah,
and half of the wrestlers live in that area. I
oh
know
yeah.
the Bella twins live over there as well. So anyway, yeah, cool.
Nice, nice. Yeah,
So
I've been here for several years.
all right, so let's get right into it because people are gonna want to know about how to become, as everybody's saying, you a marketing ninja. They're calling you on here. What's digital marketing? Just break that down.
Well, Damon, it's something that you can educate yourself on, not like the traditional world that you have to go through college. In my case, like you said on the intro, you were talking about me. I had no business background. I didn't have a clue what being an entrepreneur world actually was. Actually, I go back to watching you on TV many years ago before I even knew that I had any indication that I had potential to be a businessman. I enjoyed watching the show. I used to once a week we used to binge watch Shark Tank with my
All
kids. I
right,
have I have
my
three
man.
kids. Yeah, yeah, man. I have four kids now. But back then, I think 10 years ago, when you were just getting started on Shark Tank, what is it now? 10 years ago, Damon? Something like that?
Actually, we're yeah, a little over that. Yep, we're about to shoot our 12th season.
Oh man, I used to watch all your shows, and it's funny because at that point, I really didn't have a desire for entrepreneurship. I don't know if you've seen
What
this.
were
A lot
you
of people.
What were you doing at that point yourself?
I actually was a consultant for a church, and I used to nonprofit organization. I used to work. I used to earn, I don't know, $600, $800 a week helping the church.
Mm,
And my wife had a business. We created a business 12 years ago, but I was almost like my attitude was very different, Damon. It was almost like we joke about that right today. I used to say, well, maybe she's gonna make me rich one day, or I don't know, maybe one day I'll get an inheritance. I had no desires for entrepreneurship.
mm-hmm,
There's people that talk about entrepreneurship being in the DNA. You either have it or you don't.
mm-hmm.
I'm living evidence that it's about you waking up a desire to do something better and be stronger and just going at it. I'm actually reading your book right now, The Power of Broken. Every single word of it is so true
Right.
because I come from that background. Not I was never homeless, but I was always like never had enough. 10 years ago, I declared bankruptcy, and
Mm-hmm.
today I'm running some very powerful companies and growing and expanding. And it's a self-made path. I figured things out along the way, how to get an area and become good at it. Just obsess over it. Just want something bad enough. And I think that's something that probably most people that are now making it out there, that's what they're lacking. How
Now,
bad do they want it?
now, everybody right now, whether they're doing great, if they're doing great in their company, and let's say they're selling things to people that are at home, and their company's going great, they want to do better, right? But a lot of other people, they may be getting laid off. They may be wanting to be an entrepreneur right now. They may have been an entrepreneur, and all of a sudden the doors are shut in their retail, and now they want to be able to sell online and digitally market. What do you say to them, and where do they start? Because it's a big world out there, and it's confusing, right? Do I take out Facebook ads? Do I do pay per click? Do I, there's so many different areas. Can you break down some of these areas where people should be going and what should they be thinking of doing? Of course, we're going to talk about your curriculums and your assets that you'll be able to get to them, but just give them some simple nuggets that people just may be like, holy crap, I never thought of that.
Totally, David. I think there's a lot of opportunity right now. If you look at the economic meltdown and the COVID-19 that has struck the entire planet, right? At the same time, you look at a few companies that are booming. Facebook, highest ever numbers. Amazon, breaking records. All these e-commerce guys, right? And then you have traditional retail companies disappearing, right? Nordstrom closing 16 stores, JCPenney bankruptcy, GNC, one of the biggest supplement companies of all time, bankrupt, and the list goes on. What I tell people, Damon, is that what's happening right now it was already going to happen. It was our destiny. It was going to happen. It was inevitable. We just didn't know that it was going to happen this fast. And I'm not talking about COVID. I'm talking about the evolution to the internet, the acceleration to an online only, not online first, but online only. That was going to happen. It's just skyrocketed. Like in my case, the reason that my office is empty is because there's some people that got sick. So I sent everybody home for the last week and a half just to stay safe. You probably know that Florida had a huge peak in cases, and we're in Florida, so everybody's staying safe. But as long as you have a business that can operate remotely, you're golden. And that's what I think you should be focused on right now, because this world that we're all living on right now, I think is going to be here for a while. I saw you talking to Swin, amazing, very difficult to follow after her. And you're saying about how, there's all these things right now that are happening that, hey, I wish I could give you a hug, but hey, here's a virtual punch, right? Like, that's the world. That's the way it's going to be for the next several years, right? We're not going to be able to get too close. There's going to be a lot of fear of walking into places and doing traditional business and doing events. So I think it's a great opportunity right now to take whatever you do and transition it over to the online.
What are the first steps they can do? Because I'll tell you, if I happen to not, and of course, my business has changed. Now I'm doing virtual speaking gigs and all kind of stuff like that. But if I was right now and I didn't have anything besides, and not Daymond John, just Daymond John, who wasn't on Shark Tank, I know that there are so many businesses like the Nordstroms of the world and all that. Now they're going to have places to go. Nordstrom is going to have what we call a second door. That means they're going to be able to sell their stuff to Burlington or to other third parties who are going to get rid of the inventory, or they're sending the inventory back to somebody. But there are a lot of mom and pop shops, and the mom and pop shops are struggling. Nobody's walking by their doors. These people are anywhere from 30 to 60. They've been doing it all their life, but they never really understood the power of social media conversion and things like that. But yet they're sitting on a bunch of inventory. I don't care if it's perishable goods, if it's lotions, if it's sponges, or if it's great blouses or whatever the case is, furniture. And if I didn't have any money, I would just call those guys up and say, hey, I know you need to move that inventory. I have a great following. I've learned Facebook advertising, stuff like that. Whatever I move, we'll split the profit 50-50 to get rid of that inventory, right? Because now you're helping them. They're getting rid of old inventory if they're going to be able to survive. You yourself don't have to lay out capital, but you're using, this amazing thing called the Facebooks or the social media platform or the Instagrams of the world to get that out. And I know I'd make money. What would you say to somebody is the first step that they should take right now to start doing things like that? Because if they take your course or anything else, they'll start being able to find people who need to move things.
Right. Daymond, my advice today is the same advice that I had 9 years ago, but more with an urgency. And this is what I would tell them right now, because right now it seems like the world needs superpowers, like people with skill. Like one thing that I'll give you as an example, when I logged in today to your Instagram, I don't know if you know this, but you have 4,999 posts today. You're going to get number 5,000. I don't know if you guys even knew that, but that's volume of communication. What are you doing with those 5,000 posts? You're talking to people about your superpower, about your ability. You're helping people. You're keeping them motivated. You're keeping them fresh. You're bringing experts in different fields. You're providing value. When you're doing that, you're capturing the most important asset that we have in this world, which is attention. You can't go wrong if you have attention, no matter what the era is. What I think right now anybody needs to do, everybody needs to do out there before they start thinking about monetizing, selling products or selling services, the first thing that they have to do is figure out how they're going to capture an audience. What is their superpower? I know what your superpower is, Daymond. I mean, man, we all know it, right? I know that you have this business skill, and I'm on Daymond On Demand because you teach a lot of things that otherwise I wouldn't know, and your business experience and your roadmap and all those things. In my case, I'm marketing. I do 300 posts every single week talking about marketing, how to use social media, Facebook, Instagram TV, how to do volume of content, how to communicate and get attention. Because when you do that, the way that I see it is that you're really earning a right to sell them something. And until you haven't provided value to people first, giving them something that is actually tangibly valuable to them, I don't feel right now more than ever, you have the right to sell them something. If you want to be able to sell them your products, your services, your offers, do something first. Give them value. Direct response marketing and social media is not what it was 10 years ago. It's not what it's been in traditional marketing for 100 years. Right now, direct response is met with a lot of skepticism because people are like, well, what's in it for you, right? It's not about them. So what my strategies for my clients, for myself, for everything that I do today, I did a project for your own messenger channel, Daymond. It's all about providing value. It's about positioning the individual as an expert. It's what is your superpower? Like if you're into beauty, well, teach people how to look beautiful, make them feel better about themselves. If you're into designing, if you're a genius like yourself on that you build FUBU, right, from the ground up, well, teach people how to dress better, how to do better with their style, right? Any subject. And I always tell people, look, if you cannot figure out your superpower, you don't really have a business. And you have to figure that out because you can be a tax accountant. You might think that you're boring as heck as a realtor. It doesn't matter. You have a certain skill. You have a certain superpower and value. And what you got to do is that you got to get over the hump of having considerations or thoughts or feelings about what your neighbors think, about your mom, about your wife, about whatever, and just have to start doing volume of content. And it doesn't happen, as you know, Daymond, it's not something that, oh, I did 27 posts yesterday and nobody listened. It's not about that. It's about putting your head down and doing it. And while you're doing that, using Facebook every day, Instagram stories, Instagram live, and all these incredible opportunities that the world has given us for free, then at some point, you're gonna have audiences built that you can make your offers to, sell them your products, but only then.
How do you self-reflect, though, to find your superpower? It took me years to find out what my power was. And my power was, I think because I grew up as an only child, I always wanted friends around me. So I, went, and I also learned not to be judgmental. I learned to say how that person is acting is that person's problem, and that person's just trying to win. But, I want to get people around me. So I want to have my crew, my Keith, Carl, and Jay. Let's all start FUBU together because traditionally designers were always one person, a Tommy Hilfiger, a Carl Kanai, whatever. It's not about me, it's about us. Come on, guys, let's all do this. So then it was, I always felt that everybody, I knew their superpower. I realized that I wasn't the smartest guy, but if this guy or this girl had something, and even though they were lacking in other areas, I didn't highlight where you're lacking. Oh, you're whack, you can't do this and that. I highlighted where I thought they were great, and I said, maybe we can fix some of those things that we have challenges on, but who am I to judge you? You know what I mean? Right. Only God can judge you. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to find the good I can take out of it, and let's keep working on it. Instead of cutting them off, I tried to work on it because you're going to have the same hiccups or hurdles with the next person you work with. So that's my power has always been trying to tap into people. How do people right now find out what their power is? They're right now going, all right, man, I hear you, but I'm just too nice to people. Is that a power or is that a weakness? And if it is a power, how do they tap into the niceness of who they are?
Right. Very important question. I think it took me a while also, Daymond. And I think that people have to pick one area, right? I can break it down into 3 separate areas in which, how are you going to communicate to people, right? You either entertain them. We have a lot of people that are incredible entertainers, killing it in social media today, right? They have so much attention. These people are never going to lack any money, or they're not going to have a problem selling whatever products or services they have. Entertainers, people that inspire, people that educate, right? In my case, I try to revolve around education. What is something that I know businesses are lacking? Like right now, I was fortunate because I have to look at the silver lining, right? Like it's very difficult to look at today's world and say the word fortunate, but hey, damn it. Imagine going through COVID-19. You've been in business for ages. In 1990, without the internet, damn, we'll be in trouble, man. I mean, what the heck would we be doing with our lives? We wouldn't be able to be here, right? So I always try to take people like, hey, just take a deep breath and look at where we're at. 2020, COVID-19, we're able to operate. In my case, I have 65 staff. Before COVID-19, I have 51. Instead of losing 40 million people, I've added people to my payroll. I'm lucky, and I'm not never going to take that for granted. So you got to look at, back to your question, you got to look at what are you doing? Are you educating people? Like on taxes, on real estate, on design, on style, on gardening, or whatever it is. And that could be your superpower. Because what you take for granted, the knowledge that you talk about with your wife during your dinners and your parties, and this is your casual conversation every single day, other people would love to have that knowledge. So you either entertain them, you're a comedian, or you're an artist, or you're a musician, or you are inspiring people, or you educate them. And you got to find one of those things, or maybe you're all of them, and you got to start doing that. Now, it's the fastest road, Daymond. It's just, there's nothing faster to be able to penetrate a world than what we've been given access to today. I mean, especially if you're an old school entrepreneur, which I was lucky that I became an entrepreneur during the internet era. But before then, it wasn't this fast that you can create a following, you can create a mission, you can create attention that could be monetized along the way. So I would say that it's a pondering for a day or two, and thinking about what information do you have, do you possess, that you know there's people out there, even though you take for granted, but you know there's people out there that would actually pay for it, or that would actually use it to improve a particular aspect of their lives, right?
Well, let me ask you something else. Also, at the same time, though, the world is moving so fast that people are swiping everything, right? And prior to this, you know, I told people, and I get what you're saying. Obviously, you know, I have a great footprint on social media, but I said to people, don't discount other things. You know, if you want to advertise and market it, you know what? Billboards are becoming more effective because you can't swipe that when you're stuck on the highway back 3 months ago when you were driving. Or you think retail is dead? Well, retail and airports are booming because Amazon can't get you to the airport. Amazon can't get to the airport when you're stuck. Now, we don't have either one of those, traffic or airports booming, right? But information is moving so fast. I'm somebody who wants to communicate with people, and I want to communicate about my good services or entertainment. But how do I catch their attention when it's moving so fast? Because I remember back in the days, and I'm sure you know you're a master probably doing this now. Back in the days, there used to be this old TV ad, and the guy would say, I took 10 ads in 10 local newspapers, and each one of those ads cost me $30. And I just put 10 different 1-800 numbers down, and I used, as we call it in our industry, different copy. So one of the ads I said, would you like this red dress? The next ad said, do you remember when the last time you wore a red dress? The next ad said, you know, red dresses are the new black. The next ad said, imagine you fitting into this red dress. And this next ad said, nobody else has this red dress but you. And I wait to see how many people call the 1-800 number. And this one got 4 calls. This one got 20. This one got 700. And the one that got the 700 calls, I now put that ad in 3,000 local newspapers. And I know people do that as well on Facebook and on Instagram. They put $100 up, $100 up, $100 up on these, and they see which gets more responses. A lot of these people didn't have time to build a relationship with the consumer. They're just throwing things out there, right? Yeah. So where is that middle ground of you saying, somebody saying, listen, Emmanuel, I know what you're saying, but man, I don't got time. I got to get my goods and services out there. I don't got time to build this community over 2 months, 6 months, 9 months. And you know, can they walk and chew bubble gum at the same time? Do the throwing out of advertising while building? Like, you know, I'm just trying to. I want people right now to walk away with something to go. I can do this one step right now, and I can look. Right. I can work on the bigger picture that Emmanuel's talking about.
I can give you the marketing strategy on steroids, Daymond. Like, this is something that we have taken off. Like right now, in the last 6 months, we have expanded more, many of the brands than in the last 5 years, any given period. And it's based on a marketing strategy. And I know it's obviously we've had a transfer of wealth a lot more into the internet, companies that were more established. So I was lucky to benefit from that myself. But I'll tell you the strategy that I put together that I think anybody can actually put their own. If they figure it out, if they spend a few days figuring this out and structuring it. For any entrepreneurs that are here listening, that you have products and services and you want to get more attention, first thing that you need to know, this is not a time for you to monetize directly. It is, but in the world out there, you don't sell because it looks bad, because the world is in trouble. I'm telling you my opinion, all right? Everybody can have a different opinion. My strategy has not been to sell. On the contrary, I do not sell to people as a policy that don't know who I am. If they have not seen me first in my videos, they're on my list, on my messenger channel, they're not somehow connected with me, I don't make any offers to them. So this is what I do. I give something of value for free that generally would be sold to the public. That could be a digital product, that could be a service, that could be a one-on-one, that could be a consult, that could be a product, that could be anything that you have.
And that stuff is free. That you do the same. You give free stuff out. Okay.
I give stuff for free out, and I call them my humanitarian offer. So for example, my father, a huge social media superstar. I built that guy up from the first video that I ever uploaded in 2012. 2 years of getting nobody to see the content to now, in the month of June, we got 400,000 subscribers new. We're crossing 3 million on YouTube. We got several million on Facebook.
What business is that?
He has a supplement business, Daymond. He sells, we sell nutrition and we sell education and we sell like vitamins and things like that. Okay. We don't sell anything for COVID. We don't promote like, hey, get cured. We've been exploding more than ever, but it's because we've been promoting health. So that's been the approach, right? Point is that what we did for my dad, which was the greatest marketing strategy that we've ever done, and I've actually repeated this several times already, and it's been successful every single time, is we came up with one single product that would generally be sold, and we structured it into a humanitarian offer. And we said to people, hey, just because I really care about making the world a better place. Now, this is the fact, Daymond. You're a good guy. So am I. You got to mean it. You can't just be like, I'm going to give you a product because I want to sell you something. Right. You're really giving them something of value because you really care about them, because it's somehow going to help them. Now, if your product does not help somebody, chances are you're not selling a good product, because any product out there is going to somehow improve the quality of an individual. If it doesn't, you don't have a good product, right? So what we did was that we structured one of these digital courses. And again, we have done this for physical products, services, and everything. And we created an offer. And we put a lot of content out there, social media, talking about health and talking about this and talking and communicating and doing an Instagram live every day, a YouTube live, a Facebook live, content on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram TV, everywhere, right? But we put together an offer, and that offer was like, hey, because we want to help people during these difficult times, we are not going to be selling you something. We're going to be giving you guys something of value. And I want you to do me a favor and opt in, because I want to make the world better. And in order for you to qualify, you need to just do 3 things. Number 1, you need to help me spread the word. Number 2, you have to stay active and use it. Number 3, if you like the product, send me a testimonial video, and I'm going to make it all easy for you. And if you do those 3 things, this product is yours. When we did that, we have gone viral. I'm talking about 8, 10, 12 times the numbers, and people talking about us everywhere. Why? Because we're showing that we care about people during these very difficult times. Again, it's time to prioritize, not to monetize. So the focus has been to do that. And what has happened, Daymond, is that our revenue, even though we don't directly make offers, has exploded. Digital products, physical products. We have a call center with 75 consultants all over the world, answering from the people in the US. And these people are missing out 400 to 500 phone calls every single day of people looking to make orders of supplements. Why? Because it has gone so viral, and we have a mega massive list now that there's more people that we can sell to. It's just the analogy of, you got two ponds. One of them has 100 fish and the other one has 1,000 fish. You got more fish on the other one, so you can go ahead and get more fish, right? So the strategy, the focus, Daymond, is to build a massive list, and take advantage of the attention, the enormous attention on the subject, and the fact that humanitarian offers to provide something of value to the world are so much more receptive right now, because people know that we're in trouble. And because they know we're in trouble, they're not automatically assuming that this must be a marketing scheme. Oh, this guy, this small family-owned business, this individual really wants to provide value. He really wants to educate. He wants to give something out to the world. He wants to contribute. And then we use social media channels for that.
So, all right, and in closing, I know we're going to get cut off soon, but all right, so supplements and sometimes they're not as costly to make, but somebody right now who has a fashion company, that they cannot give, it's just too costly, right? They can't give their product away. What do they give to people then? Do they give them styling advice? Do they show them great other products out in the world that they can go and get that may not be theirs and say, here's how you can look like this? Or like what other stuff that can they give that doesn't necessarily cost them an arm and a leg to then get people's attention to say, thank you, I get it. You helped me. You know what I mean?
Right. There's a couple of options. Number one, if you have an Amazon brand and you have a clothing brand, well, that's a great opportunity for you to get massive ranking on Amazon, because Amazon will love the actual love of people purchasing your products and maybe getting a rebate, right? If you have an e-commerce channel, I would actually figure out how to do a small gift card that they can actually just claim, like a $10, $20 gift card, something like that you can afford. Or the easiest way, and Daymond, the best possible way, is for every entrepreneur to force themselves to create a digital product right now that teaches people about fashion in this example, right? Like a 7-step formula to increase your own fashion sense or whatever it is. If you put something like that together very easily and you give it away for free, you can position it as like, hey, this is something that I would generally sell because I'm teaching you my knowledge acquired over 20 years, but because of the era, I want to give it to you for free. And that could be a list building engine for you that can actually be something that you use to blow your business up later on.
All right, man. So thank you so much. And I appreciate all the information. And where can they follow you at?
Daymond, Mr. Manuel Suarez over here on Instagram, Mr. Manuel Suarez. Social media all over the place. I'm always providing value. Same as you, I'm trying to give a lot of content out there on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Just search up Manuel Suarez and you'll find me.
All right. All the best, man. Thank you and stay safe.
Thanks, Daymond. Appreciate for you bringing me in.
All right, so my time is up. As Emmanuel Suarez and Swin Cash, and hope you got to learn from so many of two really inspiring people and informative people. So what did he say? Find out, you're a superhero. So find your super talent. Tap into that. Maybe you should, today start reflecting a little bit on your super talent and/or asking others who love you or who respect you. Say, people who, because everybody has people who are haters, but more importantly, you have people that are lovers and love you, and say, what do you think my skill set is? What do you think my talent is? What do I walk into the world that you say, wow, I just don't know how you do that? And just start writing that down and, be humble about it, but start looking into that talent that you have, start finding ways to communicate and add value. I mean, listen, I don't know if Emmanuel knows Gary Vee, and I don't know if Gary Vee knows Joe Polish and all these other guys or girls that I work with, or Lewis Howe, but you hear us all saying the same thing. It's what Gary named his book: jab, 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 right hook. Keep giving, keep giving, keep giving, and the hook will come naturally. Just keep giving, keep giving, keep giving. The best way I like to say it is just like Gary says it. He says, listen, look at your social media platform, no matter what it is, personally or business. Look at it as a half-an-hour television show. And if you're watching your favorite half-an-hour television show and 27 to 28 minutes of it with commercials, you're going to change your channel. But if 27 or 28 minutes of it is informative, it makes you cry, it scares you because it's a horror flick, it teaches you how to work out, it's Shark Tank, it educates you in your business,
then the 2 minutes that you are cellaring or offering, people will buy. They want to support you. They want to say thank you for all the stuff that you're giving to them. So, so Manuel said it just like everybody else says it. Just keep giving. And, then you'll get a pass too. If something crazy goes on, with your brand or some misunderstanding goes on, if you have given so much out there, people will say, I'm going to give you a pass on this one. Don't do it again. Got my eye on you. I'm going to give you a pass on this one because you've given us so much. All right, all the best. Thank you so much. Thank you, Swin. Thank you, Manuel, for coming on, and thank all